Welcome back to, the first technically a revamp of I'm No Expert. My name is Jason. I'm a filmmaker, and every day, every time we get on this show, I'll be having special guests that I know personally to kind of bring in their insight on life, fitness, their way of dealing with business and work, just so that they can impact onto your lives for the people listening. Yeah. And so today I have the wonderful Yashod Jayasooriya.
How's it going?
Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you guys having me here, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is the second time we're meeting, but still.
This is the second time we're doing like a fun podcast thing, true, which is great.
100%.
So just a little bit of background of you. You're a coach. Yes. But you also, like, you're a business person at the same time. Like, you do something on the side, or is that your primary thing, and then coaching is on the side for you?
I think coaching is something that I do primarily, and then something that I always go back and forth from.
Yeah.
And that has always worked out for me quite well as well.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, obviously, having a job helps keep that buffer on.
Absolutely.
So I try to find some work around as well. So just to maintain things around.
Absolutely. Because in the context of Sri Lanka, we've been through a lot. Apart from the past 30, 40 years, we've also had Easter bombings, the economic crisis, and all of this stuff. And it just makes it very hard for people in certain industries to have a sustainable lifestyle. And the infrastructure is not there for us to kind of develop what we're in further. Yeah. In my case, the film industry, in your case, the fitness industry. So tell me about your beginnings, where you started off here in Sri Lanka. You used to play rugby in Kandy, correct? In school?
I would say I did briefly play rugby up until under 18.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final years, I found out that I'm a little bit better at Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Rather than rugby, so I switched sports and was doing that predominantly.
Right.
So that was 2010, 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
That was full on. I went for basically school level national meets, and schools meets as well. There were divisional Central Province meets too. So I would basically go back and forth from those competitions.
Yeah.
Actually, you might know Niraj, right?
Yeah.
So him and I.
So Niraj is he's a CrossFit coach at CrossFit Salon. Yeah.
Him and I used to compete together.
Oh, sick.
So,
yeah.
He used to always be the first time,
the second and third. Third. Fair enough.
But still, I did Olympic weightlifting initially to get stronger at playing rugby. That was the idea behind it.
Yeah.
But got better at the lifts. I had a great coach back then who just groomed me right through. I think he's still one of the best coaches for Olympic weightlifting in Sri Lanka. And he did coach the national pool as well, Mr. Dayan. So tribute to him. So thanks to these guys, man. I've been dwelling with all these different types of sports, and which led me to sort of be around athletes, I would say, on different scales, and then understand and see how they train, and also understand how they recover from an injury,
right?
And what are the downfalls, what are the high times, those kind of things. I saw it at a young age itself, just in Sri Lanka though.
Nice.
And that sort of inspired for me to start coaching.
Right.
Coaching in the sense I didn't think of coaching as coaching, but it was just I'm helping you out.
Right.
And then that developed into me understanding the sport a little bit more, studying on that, and then expanding on and helping out with my knowledge. Plus, over the years, once you see a lot of people moving, you tend to create patterns, in different sports. Okay, these are the patterns. It's if it's rugby, and then you try and find better ways to help these people out. Using strength training as a base, right? So that's how everything started out for me, though.
Right. So tell me about that. So you come from a background of sports, you weightlifting, but then you converted that into coaching pretty fast. And
more than coaching, I think. So during the time I was doing weightlifting was when CrossFit started getting popular.
Okay.
And then we saw it, and then we actually had a level 2 coach who was training the rugby team at that time. His name is Serge. So he used to come down. He would basically do strength and conditioning for the rugby team. And even though I wasn't a part of that, I would just go and pop in, listen to him, and pick his brain out a little bit. But also he did tremendously influence us a lot, especially with CrossFit. And that opened my eyes onto, hey, there's more things to see, right? I mean there's more to this. It's just not strength and conditioning in one aisle. You can actually use that in many other elements, because I think CrossFit sort of connected all of those things. We should give credit to CrossFit in that sense. So that's what basically sort of sped up the process for me, to be honest. That got me studying, because now, since I'm trying to practice CrossFit not as a sport, as a way of training for myself. So I had to see how do I get better at running, and how do I get better at lifting weights at the same time as running, right? And then that sort of open my eyes to sort of see how differently can I train, because you cannot go full blown into one and then also expect to get better at all of the rest as well, because it's all like Andy always says, it's a combination of multiple different disciplines of sport. So
Andy from CrossFit Salon,
sorry, I'm just bumping names in.
I was just throwing some names.
I gotta give credit, bro.
Absolutely.
These guys are legends, that's how it started out, and it actually opened a lot of avenues to see, okay, fine, can I add a little bit of gymnastics in there and see how it goes, and see how better I can train it without getting injured, which happened quite a bit.
Tell me about that. Tell me about so you're a coach, and you're coaching the youth also up in Kandy and here in Colombo as well. What are you seeing most with these athletes? That injuries is what I'm hearing. With obviously rugby, you're seeing a lot of injuries. With other sports that they're partaking in, like cricket and whatever, are you seeing a lot of injuries that now you have to put these band-aids on and kind of help them recover, or are you already kind of creating a base for them to actually have a pretty good knowledge of, this is how I should be training for my particular sport?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to injuries in sport, in particularly younger athletes, school level athletes, I feel it's a lot to do with so again, before talking injuries, I think we should mention overtraining and overtraining or undertraining, right? So injury happens in those two corners. If you overtrain or if you undertrain, I feel overtraining doesn't mean that you train a lot. That's not overtraining. You can still train a lot and still recover from it, and then not be overtraining. Get what I mean? Yeah,
like a David Goggins kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. He goes crazy, right? So I mean, the way he worked out, he should be injured all year round. If overtraining injures people, but still, my point is though, it's not the overtraining that kills you. It's just not recovering from that training session. That's what gets you injured. So so you can go hard on a session, but you need to recover from it as well. So that recovery aspect is not covered quite good with, especially with school level athletes, because they only don't do the sport, they also have to sit for 9 hours, 8 hours straight and more, because they study as well, right?
They're in class. You're sitting down literally the whole day.
That's it. Sitting down. You think it's just resting, but it's not. It's a task on its own. And also you're basically sending a lot of the muscles to sleep while you're just sitting down, right? I feel this is just my point.
Your hip flexors and stuff are not engaged. It's just floppy.
Exactly. You need to be moving around. Again, recovery is that slow movement around, just not it's sleeping in one spot and then staying that does not mean that you're relaxing is not recovery.
That's good,
right?
That's
relaxing is not recovery, right? So that's that's something that I learned hard way myself. So I think I'm trying to influence the athletes that I coach quite a bit as well, and then see how well they would adapt to it. But still, again, that being said, the workload that they have is quite a bit, and the support let's say cricketers in Sri Lanka, they're funded quite well comparatively to the other sports.
To the other sports.
Yeah. But
already the bar is kind of low.
True. So I'm not saying like, cricketers do well. Yes, they do, because it's funded quite well as well. But at the same time, like on the other sports, there's not enough future in it, I would say, like in terms of monetary wise, like to explore that avenue and then also do that professionally later on.
Right.
So because of that, like, as a parent or someone who's like watching over your kid wouldn't send these guys to full-blown training, or like, they expect them to get good at studies, and then it's just finding a balance between the two, and trying to figure that out, right? So I feel like that's where most athletes fall short, and then fall into trouble as well, in terms of injury, because again, lack of time, the overload of work that they have, so that doesn't allow them to recover from the sessions that they're training. And also I feel like, again, need to point this out, like a lot of the coaches, let's not blame coaches, like let's say like, sometimes they do tend to think towards how do I get these people to see that I'm doing a real hard training for these guys, and then just like be very technical and then go full blown on like too many things, complicated, like involve complex movements into the training, and then like make it look like it's a professional training.
It's not a facade, but it's more like, let's impress the people watching the thing.
Exactly. That's the main idea.
See them do some cool stuff so that people would think that, hey, I'm like doing something new for these athletes. So sorry, going back to the sitting thing. So what would be a solution for if a student, a young athlete in school, like you said, they have no choice but to sit, and this could also apply to somebody that's like
in an office
space, who is also an athlete but doing a day job. Like
imagine that's been practiced since you were young, and then you're going on till like your age 30, 40, still sitting down.
It becomes a way of life, right?
Exactly. I mean, not that this happens only in Sri Lanka. It happens all around the world. So I just like briefly read about this. Actually, credit to CrossFit on this one. They actually introduced CrossFit into classrooms in schools.
Nice.
In I can't remember exactly which state or where, but in the US though. So they did it as a study to see like.
Can you look that up? What state or school in the US started CrossFit? That would be interesting to know.
It was a coach who was like really his passion was coaching kids, and basically he incorporated like physical movement while the class was happening. So as in like
so what are they sitting on, like medicine balls or?
No, not really. They would sit on a normal classroom.
Okay.
But like if I remember correct again, like the classrooms are set up in where you find like a pull-up rig all around, or it's a different setup, right? So they did it, I think, only in a section of the school.
Interesting.
And did it as a study as well to see like what are the points of improvement comparatively to other students who are not in these classes, who would have. And then like overall, like I think the performance academically like shot up.
Absolutely. I would
as a base, what I mean, not the single person who's like reaching out like heights, but like as a base, that entire classroom like
significant improvement
did quite well. I think even in Japan and China these things are practiced out, and not in terms of CrossFit though, but it has been like physical activity while it's like always standing up, moving around while that is going on, and coming back to your work, and then making that a habit to
I could imagine that, because whether you're in college at a conference or at a lecture, or whether you're in school, you getting up to go and do a pull-up every like 15 minutes, your brain is going to be firing, your body's going to feel good, and you're going to be listening so intensely like, what did he say? Like, the Pythagoras theorem or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like I could see how that would make like people want to be like super focused in the classroom, present in the moment as well.
True. I think it was done in like time frames. I'm not too sure how the process went through. But the idea of it was basically including physical activity inside the academic work that they do as well. So partly like most young students, they were actually learning things in a sense of a game. And basically incorporating maths into movement and then like, trying to, very young kids. So like, that, again, there are multiple studies that have found like, if you incorporate anything into a game and you learn faster and that sticks with your brain.
You make things more fun.
True.
It's not a task anymore.
100%.
And like when it comes for me and like filmmaking and editing, like I'm sitting sometimes 2-3 days straight. Like I wake up 5 a.m. I'm in the edit room sitting down the whole time. And I realized, dude, like I don't recover well from sitting for that long. Like I'm like, my back is shot, like my glutes haven't been used, like my body's just like, and then going back to the gym is really hard. So I started doing this thing where I just get a medicine ball and I just like sit on the medicine ball. And so that way, like just moving my hips even a little bit, like during the edit throughout the day, helped me at least have some sort of like mobility and motion. That going back into the gym, I wouldn't feel like wrecked. I'm feeling like, okay, I did have some sort of movement.
True, that's the thing.
I think in nowadays in like where you have standing desks,
true.
like you have like a pad to stand there. Like you can do some exercises. Even there are like treadmills that you can just walk and
also work at the same time.
What are your thoughts on that? Like a treadmill while working?
I feel like it's again great initiative. But like,
is it a distraction? Like it's like I can't compute what that would feel like.
So bringing this subject, there's something called NEAT.
Okay.
Right. So NEAT is a non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Right. So that's basically anything that is not related to sports or sports or recovery, but everything else other than that. Right. So say for an example, need for a person who's doing a 9-to-5 desk job would be just sitting down, and then that's it. Like your fingers are moving, you're sitting down, that's pretty much it, right? But on the other end, like if you take a blue collar worker who has to move heavy things around, that's the part of their job, right? So that becomes need for them, right? So which means, for an example, right? So when I was coaching, like full time, so I would run about, say, on average 6 classes a day. So which means I'm on my feet all the time. I'm moving weights for my clients, and that's when I felt the fittest, and like I felt strong. And then I feel like I did not have to work out as much as I do now. Right. In order for me to maintain a certain a level of health.
Right. Finding your next nutrient-dense meal is really tough when you're on the road or you're working really long hours during filmmaking season or whatever it is that you're doing. KION has been with me since day one with its essential amino acids or its whey protein. I'm feeling great 100% while I'm on the road. So if you want to check him out, hit him up on KION.com. The link is in the description below, or use the coupon code Jason plus KION for your goodness on your next basket. Would it be a goodness basket? It's a goodness basket. KION.com.
Right. So I feel like so that's where. What was the question again?
Neat. You were getting into neat.
Yeah. So that is what. Like, so when it comes to treadmill, so I think that's where they're trying to reach out to. Like to increase that movement while you're working. So that there is need going on, even when you are working or basically not working out. So great initiative, but I feel like there's more you can do rather than just walk, right?
And like here's what I'm thinking, right? I think it's all to do with like how conscious are you when you're doing this movement. True. So when it's like, okay, when you're sitting on a ball, you're actually feeling it, you're doing it. When you're on a treadmill, because it's so automated, I just feel like you know, you're
forced
just
to do that.
you're
That's
forced
the
to do
word,
it, and
yeah.
you're like, then you're gonna find a rhythm, and then your focus is gonna be on something else. Whereas like a pull-up bar, like where you take a moment to like go do the pull-up and come back,
Exactly.
it's like focus, and then you come back and focus on this.
100% right.
So it's like you're like you having like a clear direction
Right.
of where your focus is at that moment indicates like if your energy is at a different level, if your mindset is actually like in what you're doing, makes a world of
Do you
difference.
remember ROMWOD?
A ROM WOD. I can't. I know what a WOD is.
No.
A workout of the day. What's a ROM?
Like I can't remember the abbreviation for that
Yeah.
though. ROMWOD. It was a company or an app that started out like
Oh yeah. The app.
It gives you the recovery movement that you gotta do
Yes.
to come out of a workout, because
Right.
like, if you write in your workout,
Yeah.
and then it would just like give these movements
Yeah.
has to be done.
Was that
So-
pre Chat GPT?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like way before when, like I think
Yeah.
this was given for CrossFit athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like those included like quite a bit of movements, a little bit of like, it looks like yoga as well.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying yoga, but like mobility. let's
Yes.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the mobility work that was done while either reading or writing something or at home on a mat, right? So I feel like those kind of things would go a longer way rather than just walking on a platform.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm blessed to have my wife is a super talented yogi.
Yeah,
So
I bet she knows. Like, I mean, that's
100,
probably her day routine consists of like you in different poses in front of the computer.
Yeah. I mean, she's naturally very like flexible, and but she's always like for me, mobility was never a thing. Like I would just like go, like if I run, I just wake up and run, and like that's it, nothing else. And then I'm just shot. Like, why am I not able to like bend like a certain way or? And so the moment the mobility came into the picture, I started like becoming better at like functioning well.
True.
Especially with like filmmaking. Like I'm carrying all of this weight constantly. Like sometimes I'm carrying like, the package in total is about, at least I would say like 30 to 40 pounds, sometimes like right over you. And like your lower back is sometimes taking most of like that pressure. And so you need to have that kind of like you said, like what we did with our workout today,
Exactly.
like the breadth with every movement, every step.
Right.
And then on top of that, we were focusing on like the focus and like making the shot look good at the same time. So it's
What was it called? Better looks? No, what?
yeah, it was better views.
Better views.
Yes, that's our workout. Better views. Yeah. So tell me about like, so NEAT is really cool. That's a really cool concept. But
I think so.
But you also train like with like strongman, like very like heavy stuff. Like that's your approach to a lot of your workouts, I noticed.
I think that's what I probably post online.
Okay.
But like
because the heavy sandbag thing is what I see you do most of the time. It's like Jesus.
The thing is, like, there's a lot of work that goes behind it as well.
Right.
Yeah? Like, I mean, just not the sandbag. I mean, to get like you saw how you warm up to that.
Yeah.
Right. There was quite a bit of work that we did beforehand. Right. So like in order for you to get to that point and then go to that full send into the sympathetic mode, right?
Yeah.
So so I think that's very necessary as well. That's something that people don't do.
Yeah.
And also on the other side, something I quite enjoyed working is like calisthenics work.
Okay.
And like basically being on my hands, even though I'm not that great.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to improve on like little aspect, which I see that sort of like translates and then not translate is not the word, like sort of helps the carrying portions of heavy weight as well, quite a bit. So it's a win-win situation. You get at some good at something, and then you realize, oh, okay, fine, I can connect muscles that way, and then make the carry a little bit more easier for me.
Yeah.
Or I can go a little bit longer then.
Yeah.
And like the breathing comes from running a lot, right? So like understanding how to breathe while you're running would help you to definitely understand how to breathe while you walk, while carrying load.
Yeah.
So that sort of like it helps you to push a little bit further, and then see how much you can carry, how further you can carry. Then again, I just like thought sandbag was like quite simple, and I actually got it from this coach who does something called Strong Fit.
Okay.
So I feel like there are break away of CrossFit, that sort of like, use the same kind of principles.
Yes.
Not same, bit more complex.
Okay.
A lot more complex.
Okay.
Which I'm still trying to gauge and understand, into incorporating strongman movements and also building a fitness regime around it. Strongman not for competition,
right,
but for general population fitness.
Right, exactly.
Right.
That's the difference, right? Because what we're seeing is, like, you're seeing all these workouts geared for like a sport specifically, like
100%.
CrossFit is like, when you look at like these elite athletes, like they're like, this type of workouts are made for them, but there's other things that are required for you to like function the way they do, especially if you're a working individual, if you're like field is something else apart from sports.
I mean, if you're training, if you get the workout plan for, let's say, Matt Fraser, right? And you do the same workout, that doesn't make you
absolutely not
you go there, or probably you might like, drop down a notch.
yeah
Because you are not recovering from that session. Like, you might need a week to recover from it. Like, that's how much of a load of work that they do. And they do recover from it. And mind you, these are, Matt has gone to Olympics. He's been training all his life.
Yep.
He's a proper athlete.
Yep.
He's a professional athlete.
Yep.
So that's what he does for living. So
Yep.
I mean, so he's got like that kind of practice going on as a young kid.
Yes.
And then developed it over the years.
Right.
And obviously, he can perform in a larger scale when it comes to like a CrossFit or any type of competition.
Yeah.
So
he has the foundations that were built into
mental foundation, the physical foundation, and also like how you manage time around things.
Absolutely.
And that's been built around. So it's not easy to get there. So you cannot like, get someone else's workout and then expect to sort of at least even go closer to that. You need to like sort of figure out what's good for you.
Yeah.
And where you should be working out.
Yeah.
On. So again, going back to 2015, 2016, no, 17 maybe. So one of the we had an event at CrossFit Ceylon, which was like a small competition. That's where like Andy put a D ball carry, like a dead ball carry.
Yep.
And then that workout got me real hard. Like because I was going so well until I got to the D ball carry, and then I hit a wall right there, right? So I couldn't move. Like, there was a point it's just like won't come up. That's it. I'm gone, and I'm like, what is this? This is sorcery. Like, what did you do? And
you're stuck.
That's it. So I wanted to. I sucked at it so much. I wanted to figure out, oh shit, how can I get better at this? Like, so I spent more time with it. Like, that's why I said, you asked me like, are you good at these ones? I said, no, I'm not. I wasn't. So that was my fear in a sense, because inside a workout, how can you manage that fatigue? How can you manage that intensity that comes through with like a strongman type of movement, which is a simple thing, carry, man. That's it. And then that sort of like blew my mind. And then,
I like your approach that you're doing something that you suck at, so that you can be better at it. Like that, because we can all feed ourselves like, oh yeah, I'm really good at shooting a bow, but can I do it after like running like 15 kilometers, and can I shoot it then? I would suck.
But that's the whole point of it. I mean, let's say, not saying you're going to go there, but like it's just like if you're at war, right? You're going to be fatigued, and then you're going to be expected to shoot, and then also like be in that sense of urgency. So can you be that coordinated while you are at high intensity? That's why I feel like, again, going back to school level athletes and then in sports, how injuries happen, right? Like they train specifically different parts, and then they do not incorporate intensity into the training sometimes. So I feel like they're not being trained where they're supposed to. So you do so well in like specific training, and then go into the competition and then get injured, and all of a sudden you be like, hey, I trained so much, I did these things, why am I getting injured? You did not train that specific movement under that intensity, right? So you didn't actually train that thing, right? That's a different realm. It's a different thing to lift this phone here and also lift the phone once you're after like about a 20 cal sprint on an assault bike. It's a different thing to do that. So you've got to train in all these elements of the nervous system. I feel
train specifically for the goal, which is going to the general population. Now, when we're looking like that's who you train. I would say like 50% of the people that you train outside of like the athletes and school athletes.
More than 50. Yeah.
More than that, like. For them, it's like, do you help them understand that everything you're training for should be goal oriented? Like whether it's you at 80 years old wanting to crouch down and be able to pick your grandson up or granddaughter up, or whether it's like this working professional that he or she needs to be able to walk up the stairs every single day and still feel and look good at the same time and put together in their workspace. Like
you can still find goals and then like, figure out and set goals for those kind of people as well. So a goal for an athlete who's competing could be very specific and like high level, high demanding, but like in a nutshell, like on the other hand, like for general population, it could be just the goal is to get your hips aligned. Simple as that.
That's good.
That's still hard.
Yeah. Because you're thinking longevity then.
That's it. Like, how do you move well and then keep moving well for the longest period of time? Right?
Absolutely. Not about getting abs, right?
No. I mean, that comes with it. That's the bonus. Right? So, I mean, if you do it right, then like, that'll come with it.
Yeah.
So,
but there's that's where my thing is like, when I look at most of the athletic like bodies, sure, there's like some people with great genetics that also like end up like getting to a great shape. But when people go after that desired shape, you're not necessarily fit, is what I've noticed.
Yeah, sure.
Like some people just like, which is not a bad thing. I think if you want to look good and your goal is to look good, awesome. I love it. But it doesn't mean you're necessarily fit. Like that person that has like looks jacked and swole is not going to be able to like run that,
right,
10-mile run.
That's the thing about them. I mean, that's what calling fit or healthy is two different things, right? So again looking at like a physique element of things. So you're like you said, if I'm wanting to only work on the bow and that's where my comfort zone is, I'm gonna be going on that one all the time. Then again, you're creating an extreme. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just very good at one thing.
Yeah, and then but you need to also at the same time work at the things that you suck at. Then you bring a balance to it, and then you eventually get better at it also. But still, it'll take time though.
Yeah.
Right. So if you just work on the physique, there are the elements that are going to drop down.
Yeah.
And then if you're comfortable at working on physique, then again, the other elements are going to still drop down. You need to work on your mobility too. You need to work on your cardiovascular abilities too, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you need to work on your nervous system as well. So,
does it take a lot of time for the general population to like develop all of these things, or is there a way for you to like commit like an hour a day to do that?
Yeah. Like I said, then you can drop back to NEAT. I feel like, like that's, even though if you come to me or like, go to a gym for an hour and then work out, still you're going to be spending the rest of the 23 hours by yourself, right? I can't do so much, but like, you can do so much inside the gym. That's what kind of practices do you take out and then continue as well?
Absolutely.
That sort of like, helps you to push the needle a little bit further.
Yeah.
So time wise, I feel like, are there any shortcuts? There are, but there are consequences.
Yeah.
So every
trade-off.
Yeah, true. So I mean, can you go fasting all year round? No, fuck no. That'll mess you up. Right? Sorry for swearing.
I love it. No, it would mess you up. Fasting 24/7. Like, I don't see how that's like sustainable.
It has to be done in a progressive or a sustainable manner. You can still get the benefits off of it, but still like, if you know where to use it. Right. So if I have like if my day is packed with like energy draining work, am I going to be fasting? No, I'm not. Like I'll properly eat and then I'll go through with that day. But still, if my day is quite loose and then if I have the energy or if I can do that, for me to why are you fasting, right? So
what is the purpose?
What is the purpose of the fast? Like, is it to lose weight or is it to just clear up your because if you, is it for detoxing or like what's the purpose behind it? There should be that. There's always like, fasting is not entirely a bad thing, but doing doing anything in the extreme is obviously going to have like repercussions to it. So
would you say that it's also super important that everybody should be lifting heavy weights? Like, lifting weights is important.
So, lifting weight is what you call hypertrophy, right? Decaying your muscles is called entropy, right? So basically, hypertrophy is literally making you younger, or like, ageless. So lifting weights particularly doesn't. So hypertrophy can still happen in a pull-up, which is not lifting weight, which is lifting your own body weight.
Yeah.
Right. So you can still do hypertrophy stuff,
right?
But still like not lift weights.
Right. To lift your own body weight. Which is,
exactly. It's just first get good at. That's I always like. I think CrossFit put it really well. Like, you need to work on your what do you call it? Endurance or cardiovascular. That's the engine of your body.
Yep.
Right. Of if it's a car, like that's the engine. Like you don't want to look like a Ford Mustang but still have a TVS engine, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
So you need to work on the engine first, and then like that's the base of things. On top of that, then comes in like how good you're going to be at like moving your own body, right? And then how can you move another body outside yourself? So that those hierarchies are, I think, absolutely crucial when it comes to training.
Right.
So you need to respect that, and then sort of it's not done by CrossFit. It's just like universal theories.
Right.
So I think the more you have respect towards those kind of like hierarchies, the better you're going to be at your training, and also whatever your performance or whatever you want to perform at. So any kind of sport, or even like sitting down and working, even like it could be general population. Still the principles are principles, base level things. That I mean, a great thing. Julian Pino, Strong Fit. So one he said was like something that resonates quite a bit. Was like if you can find a million methods to do things, but still like if you get the principle right, like all those methods will work.
Yeah,
you just have to have that base principle going on, and I think that resonated with me quite well.
That's really good. Yeah. So, I love that. Like, learn the basics, humble yourself, learn the basics, and then any other methodology would work. Yeah, that's solid. And you're not fully into CrossFit. You do a component of it, but you're like a hybrid athlete from what I see. You mix and match, and you put all these different things in there. So
a lot of the times I feel like what I do is just to learn for myself. Okay, what outcome would happen if I do this? So I just make myself a test dummy. I think that's what almost all coaches in the realm of CrossFit or anywhere should be doing. And because
it wouldn't make sense for a bodybuilding coach to like train like a rugby player.
No, exactly. but still, if he still wants to play rugby, then you want to train like that though. But again, depends on your goal, right? So a lot of the times, things that I do is just to test out and then see what it feels like, how it feels like. Before asking someone else to do it, I think you need to at least get a feel of it. You don't need to like be religiously going at it, but still like if you're incorporating a certain theory in training for that person, you need to feel and you need to see how it feels for yourself first, and then you get a better understanding, better learning. I think I've been like an experiential learner rather than like understanding literature and then going on. So I would rather listen to something, practice it, and see how it feels like, and then understand.
You're the guinea pig.
I think so yeah.
I love that. That's a really interesting approach, because then we can write off that labor that you've put in. And we don't actually have to go through all of that process like you've done. You kind of just implement that. Well, I can see how you're really well known, man, like within like all these circles as like a really talented coach that just like that I feel that just deserves a platform to like share your skills with the rest. But yeah, tell people about like how they could reach you, and like what the best way to connect with Yashod Jayasooriya to get their next training session.
I think Instagram.
Yeah, fair enough.
Where mostly going, but still like if you wanna definitely shoot a DM, and then like let's see where we can work things out, and let's see how we can progress.
Absolutely.
But
you're based in you're training right now in Kandy. You're training some of the youth there, but you're also doing Colombo in Sri Lanka.
Not too much training. I used to do a fair bit of. I did a few coaching camps, to be honest. Like
Nice.
about like, I would take up like fundamental movements and then break it down into 12 sessions, and I would run it for like a boot camp.
Right.
And then it's part informative and then part like very activity vibe. So like I think I opened a few eyes like of young athletes and also like a few older as well.
Right.
Into the realm of functional movement and functional and good movement, so I was trying to do that, and at least the intention was that and then like also to bring different athletes from realms like calisthenics through, or like fighting sports to the limelight a little bit as well. I try to incorporate like them in the training and bring them into the training as well, so that it's a nice element to have, and then there's a lot we can learn from these people, so for general population as well. So that was the intention. That was I think 3 years ago. And then slowly Candy work has been dying down a lot, because so most of my work, as in my office job, like 9 to 5, has been in Candy. So haven't been able to do too much in Candy, but of recently. But in Colombo, yes, I've taken up a couple of gigs that I can follow through and then help out young kids, especially.
That's awesome, man. Because I think it's people like you that are just helping shape the youth and kind of bring that diverse perspective. And it's not just about like going full force with that sport, but also fully understanding your body, your mind, like what are you going to use all of that skill for later if you don't succeed in like that pro elite athlete space.
Looking at sports, like only that 1% or like the elite of the elite gets a chance to go to the podium and then deserve go into winning something, or like getting into that final stage of being a sports person or like an athlete, right? But like end of the day, if they learn something that would sort of help them to lead life better later on, and incorporate that into living a healthier life, a fitter life, and then longer life, obviously, it's going to be a good thing to follow through. So I feel like that kind of advice or like help we didn't have when we were younger.
Absolutely.
I feel like should be instilled in kids these days. So
totally. 100% agree. We never found out what state that was in.
So, sorry. It turns out it's Eaton Community College in California.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cali. All right. All right. Democrat state. Not too bad.
Fair.
Yeah. That's cool. I wish we could do that. I wish we could bring that into Sri Lanka.
It's again going through the I don't know how successful it's going to be. Like there's going to be a lot of backlashes, like and also infrastructure problems too. Like setting things up, but we can obviously start small, right?
Yeah, we should look into that. We should look at connecting with our people in government and seeing if there's maybe try it out, like, trial run, do a study.
It doesn't have to be set up like in a classroom. Like it could be incorporating like every couple of periods, or like like it's just like
body weight stuff, using your table, using your chair.
I mean, get creative with it. Like,
absolutely.
Have I think educating the teachers and the educators would be like a better start off. Maybe, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because kids, I mean, that's as fresh as a human gets. So I mean, whatever you instill at that age, like especially things like I think best sports to start with, like as a young child, would be like swimming or gymnastics. Like great set of skills that you will develop like for your latter part of your life, right? So I think anyone who's getting into it like is blessed in a sense. So I think you can learn a lot from those kind of activities. So maybe like also doing workshops with I saw somewhere in Colombo they've opened a gymnastics gym, like a warehouse, big warehouse, a whole bunch of kids, and then going, I think I can't remember the name of the person, but like he's running the show there, and I found it quite interesting. And then
that's awesome.
Just gymnastics, right?
Dude, and like just the natural physique of a gymnast is like
they're very strong,
Iron Cross, bro. Like insane.
One of the strongest humans alive.
Absolutely. Well, cool, man. I thank you for your time, and I appreciate you just like dishing out some knowledge. I would love to do this again and just catch up and see where you're at in a couple months. Yeah, absolutely. Better views, right?
Better views.
That really spoke to me. We came up with that workout thing because we were looking at the Cinnamon Life building, and I was like, it's not just a better view, but also like how you feel in that moment. Like it's a better perspective on life.
To be honest, that was a nice place to work out, get some vitamin D. Yeah. Like, I think brilliant. Yeah. Great. Maybe the path could clean up a little bit more.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Appreciate it. So that is imno.Expert here with Yashod. Make sure you like, subscribe, and do follow us on Instagram. Give us some help.
Yes,
share the word.
Feedback.
Absolutely. Yeah.